And that's why we're seeing so much chaos in the world today. So we are really at a game reset, or a game's end. And a new game is about to emerge because this game right now is not sustainable. Okay? And so these three things, okay? Finance, the Bank of England basically, schooling, or the idea of soft power, British culture, English, okay? And the third thing is the Navy, created really the world's first great world empire. So as you can see, Britain spread all around the world, okay? And so even though the British Empire is no longer around, it's now the American Empire, even though the opium trade has stopped, what's important for us to understand is the game is still being played today, okay? So let me give you an example of this. This is a drug trade in the world, okay? And as you can see, the drug trade, okay, primarily cocaine. We're talking about cocaine. There are other types of drugs as well, but let's focus on cocaine. You can see it's a global network. Just like a lot of cocaine is produced in Colombia and South America, and then it just travels all around the world. It's a very sophisticated system of trade, okay? But what you need to understand is none of this would be possible without the British financial and legal system, okay? Because like, why are people taking such a risk and selling drugs? Because it's so lucrative, it's so profitable. But you can only have this market if it's being protected by a legal and financial system, okay? People only participate in this trade. It's dangerous, but they will only participate in this trade if they can be guaranteed that they can make a lot of money, and they can use this money and protect this money, okay? So what protects this money, of course, is the offshore financial centers, okay? So the green are areas in the world in which you can place your money. They won't ask where the money came from. They don't care where the money came from, and they will clean it up for you, okay? Money laundering. They will use their sophisticated legal and financial systems to clean up your money, and then they will help you invest it elsewhere, okay? Does it make sense? So guess what? Look at this, guys. Where are the major global financial offshore centers? Well, they're in the Caribbean, okay? They're in Panama. They are in Northern Europe. They are in the Middle East. They are in Southeast Asia. Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan. Guess what, guys? This used to be the former British Empire, okay? So the British Empire is still around today. They transformed from one that is overt, and that uses military power in order to control the world, to one that is covert, that is secret, and that uses financial and legal means in order to control the world, okay? And it's still the game that we play today, all right? Now, there's a question that someone asked me, okay? It's a very good question. The question is this: if offshore financial centers like Hong Kong and Dubai are so profitable, and it's such easy money, why doesn't everyone do it, right? It's a good question, okay? And the logic is very simple. We know that gambling, prostitution, human trafficking, slavery, all profitable. Why doesn't everyone do it? Because it's immoral, okay? As a society, you need morality in order to create energy, openness, and cohesion, right? People want to feel as though they're part of something good, that we're striving for a higher cause. And if you're all about slavery or prostitution or gambling or money laundering, people won't feel good about themselves. In fact, their souls will become corrupted, okay? So the classic example is like Hong Kong, right? Have you guys been to Hong Kong? One of the wealthiest cities in the world, right? Lots and lots of skyscrapers. But guess what? The people there are disgusting. They're depraved, they're unethical, they're disgusting. There's absolutely no culture to the place. There's no morality to the place. It's absolutely disgusting, okay? I don't want to live there. And if you live there, guess what? Your soul is going to become corrupted. So this is almost, you would say this is a demonic system. This system is not only evil, but it facilitates evil. It is the work of Satan. Okay? But unfortunately, this is a system that we live in today. So even though everyone will say this system is demonic, it really underpins the world today. Because if you think about it, okay, all this corrupt money from China, India, Malaysia, they go to these places, but then this money then goes where? It goes over to Australia to invest in real estate. Okay? Do you guys know what the biggest industry in Australia is? It's banking. Okay? Banking. Which means that Australia also engages in money laundering, but they clean it up so people aren't aware of this. Do you understand? But the same thing happens in Canada as well. Canada, United States as well. So this entire world, it's based on stealing from the third world and transferring this money to the first world. That's all it is, okay? It's not complicated. But this has led to a huge problem. The problem is what we call over-financialization. But over-financialization, it's a very similar concept where there's too much money, so people become corrupt, lazy, arrogant, and insular. And that's what's happening in Canada, in the United States, in Britain, in Australia. Okay? And so really, an empire must collapse at some point. So the British, the Western world, they are a victim of their own success. Okay? So they stole all this money from the rest of the world, but this money has made their people lazy, corrupt, and arrogant. And that's why we're seeing so much conflict right now in the Western world, because this money has created a lot of inequality in the world, in the Western world, right? Where maybe 1% of all the money, 9% have very little to get by on. But you also have a lot of corruption, where the political system no longer serves the interests of the people. They only serve the interests of the rich, okay? And then you will also have immorality, where nowadays people only concerned about making money. They don't want to contribute to the community, okay? So yes, we can say that the Western world, it's evil because they've stolen all this money. But really what's happened is that they've corrupted and destroyed themselves because this model has been too successful for them. Okay? And that's why we're seeing so much chaos in the world today. So we are really at a game reset or a game's end. And a new game is about to emerge because this game right now is not sustainable. Okay? All right. Any questions? Yeah?
So if the success of Western world leads to the corruption and, the fall of Western world, can we generalize that, after success, people will fall? Then what's the meaning of success?
Okay, that's a great question, okay? So we know that if you become successful, you will not be happy. Why do people go and succeed? And, okay, this is a really hard question to answer, okay? So let me explain different layers. Okay, the first layer is this. Why? People know that wealth doesn't lead to happiness, right? What leads to happiness is family, love, community, meaning, purpose, generosity, okay? That's what leads to happiness. The happiest people in the world tend to be religious, they tend to have families, and they tend to be very kind-hearted people. So why do you have rich people? Because the game is structured so that everyone is forced to play. Okay? Meaning that we only care about people like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg. We worship the rich, okay? And we hate the poor. So if you're homeless, we think it's because you deserve it, because you're lazy. It's because you refuse to work, okay? So the game is set up so that we're focused on making money. Then the question then is, why do we have this stupid game? And the answer, unfortunately, is that what we figured out is that this game, in the short term, not in the long term, okay? We're talking like decades, not centuries. In the short term, it's what makes your people the most energetic, open, cohesive, and the most likely to win against other nation states. Okay, does that make sense? So in the long term, you get destroyed. Your people are destroyed. You're corrupted by this game. But in the short term, it allows you to defeat other players. Okay, that's how the British were able to create the empire, because they defeated the French, then they defeated the Germans, then they defeated the Russians. Okay? And that forces the other players to play this game as well. Because in the short term, this game gives you huge advantages. Okay? So think of, it's a zero-sum game. So think of an Olympic game where, okay, everyone's going and competing in the 100-meter sprint. And we know you shouldn't do drugs because drugs will destroy your body, right? And you could have a heart attack when you're 40. But they're like, no, I really want to win this game. So one guy uses a drug and he wins. And the other players know about this, and now they're forced to also use the same tactic. Okay, do you understand? So it's a really unfortunate system in that this system can only lead to the unhappiness, corruption, and immorality of people. But people are too concerned about short-term rewards. Okay? If you don't play this game, then you get eliminated. Okay?